Caught behind Venetian blinds, out of reach for the city lights. This ain't where I belong. Hey, look at me, man, what I've become. I've been running east, looking for a sunset, digging deep since '99. What I thought was gone was sitting in my pocket in plain sight all along. I think it's time for me to go, burn all bridges. All I know, I got lost along the way, fell between the folds, pulling stitches. Time to let go, so come what may. Don't look before you leave. What you give, you get to keep. So long, farewell, bye-bye. Let's have a toast for those lost old lives. And my crooked little heart that seems so rebellious is falling apart right now. I'm bleeding, an easy kill, gonna leave it all behind. I think it's time for me to go, burn all
gone, always on my mind and way out of my league. You were born to be on display, and I'm hard to read. I thought of you, hoping that the ripples would make you notice me, notice me. And now you're here, sunlight on the ripples. Somehow you noticed me, noticed me. I don't believe it's all about the things that we share. Marry me when the lights go out. You know I'll be there. I thought of you, hoping that the ripples would make you notice me, notice me. And now you're here, sunlight on the ripples. Somehow you noticed me, noticed me. Whatever you decide to do, I will keep sending new ripples to you. I thought of you, hoping that the ripples would make you notice me, notice me. And now you're here, sunlight on the ripples. Somehow you notice me, notice me.
Oh my love, you're such a fragile thing, I know. And with the winter comes the ice, the snow. But I'm here to and oh my love, don't worry about the cold just yet. The trees haven't started to shed. Just feel the summer sun as it warms our bed. I'm lying, and I'm lying when I say I'm not afraid. But I'm trying to shelter you from pain. And oh my love, the seasons come and they go, but I hope you know that I won't